when we're talking about, I think one thing we need to just quickly cover is in the using of the essential oils. Now, we've talked about me taking the lid off. We've sort of haven't, I just very quickly, I don't think I'll take 30 seconds to do this, is that there are simply generally regarded as 3 ways to use essential oils, just 3 ways. And the first way is aromatically, which is inhalation, okay, straight from the bottle, or as Rebeccah mentioned before, diffusing. So diffusing is a device that actually you put essential oil in, and there's some agitation where it comes out in a mist and you breathe the molecules of the essential oil. And that can help both physically and emotionally, because when we're talking about certain oils which are antibacterial, antiviral, just them floating around in the air can help kill bugs and pathogens and so forth. So aromatically is incredibly powerful. Rebeccah mentioned its way going up to the amygdala through the brain. Science says that about 5% of what we smell actually gets into our bloodstream because of the small size of the molecules. Only 5%, that's plenty. So it can have a profound effect just inhaling, just getting into that. The other is topical application. Topical application. There are some issues there. What we always recommend is that sensitivities vary among people. So it's always good that in the initial stages to test it, perhaps use a carrier. Carrier can be anything. It can be olive oil, it can be any sort of cooking oil. The best one we use is something like fractionated coconut oil because it's got long life that Rebeccah's showing. It's had all the fat taken out of it, so it's thin, it doesn't go rancid. So use that. If in doubt and you have no carrier, the simplest, safest, most effective place to put essential oil is on the soles of the feet. Okay, because there was a couple of reasons. One, the feet are usually tougher and harder, so you're less likely to get any reactions, but there's numerous vascular endings in our feet. So oils absorb quickly into the vascular system, so they're going around through the body. Okay, and don't be afraid to dilute, because the latest evidence suggests that dilution is far more effective than neat application, simply because essential oils absorb rapidly. They're gone. They're not like your fatty oils, like your jojobas or argans or so forth like that, where they big molecules sit on the skin. Essential oils, small molecules straight in. You want them to linger. So dilute them with a carrier that's got a bigger molecule. Let them linger. Let them go slow. Let's slow down. Just like Rebeccah was doing there. Let's slow down and so forth. That's the best way to use essential oil. Now, they're the 2 ways, and they're the 2 ways that I've always taught. You can, and Rebeccah mentioned a drop of coriander in drinking it. Okay. You move into a field of ingestion. I'll be very quick here. Yes, a number of essential oils can be ingested because these are 100% pure. Many of them are used as food additives. So your citrus oils, they're just essential oil out of the rind of the fruit. So you're eating fruit, just the rind. Peppermint obviously is used as a flavour and so forth like that. The secret there is for me, is care and attention. And we will talk later about some precautions not to take them. But if you're starting out new, topical application, aromatic is incredibly powerful, incredibly effective. And we can learn about ingestion later on as we go down the track. How's that sound? All right?
Perfect. And just a very quick question on that. Is it safe for pregnant women and children to use?
Okay. My response to pregnant is that, yes, you can go and look at lots of books and lots of texts, and I can sit here and tell you these oils are, these oils aren't. I figure for me, if you're pregnant, you're not going to be pregnant forever. Just don't use them. Don't take the risk. If you're confident, if you want to do your own research, hey, go and do that. But why bother? Just don't. Children, yes, they're fine for children. You dilute them. So generally, we would say for an adult, generally, 1 part essential oil, 3 parts carrier. So the very young children, 1 part essential oil, 12 parts. Older children, 1 part, 6 parts. You just think about they're littler. So you just dilute it more. And for children, stick it on the soles of your feet. Stick it on the soles of your feet.
Perfect. And of course,
we're going to start somewhere, and there's plenty of education out there and you'll learn, but we are big onto safety. We're big on safety.
Right. And of course, when you buy from dōTERRA, you have guidance available
The guidance.
constantly.
You've got us, you've got lots of information, you've got access to people online who can talk you through, you've got an untold amount of literature and education and so forth like that. So strongly support the product, really want to ensure that people have the best experience they can get.
Fantastic.
That's what I wanted to mention, just to clear that little area about using them up, and we're good to go.
And thank you for that. I think, miss it in the beginning as to how.
No, we glossed over it. We did, but we just didn't, you know, I might be a bit pedantic about that because I'm really careful with it. So go.
Right. And there were a few questions that came in very specifically. So Rebeccah, Priyanka asked, how can essential oils be helpful in asthma and allergies in kids?
Right. So this is a good question now to answer, given that we were talking about the various digestions. So when you look at what is happening with an allergy and what is happening with asthma, we want to look at what is causing this, the child to, the lungs to seize and to close up. What is causing that backup of mucus in the alveoli of the bronchi in the lungs? What is causing that? And there can be allergies to pollen, to food, to multiple things. But there is a space, especially for children, that is a mental and emotional allergy. And depending on how old the child is, also, if they don't feel, depending on their personality as well, how well they express themselves and how, so it's a very deep situation. And if possible, I would like to encourage Priyanka to probably get on a private booking with me, to, if that is of interest, to find out exactly what is happening with the child.
Right, because as you just explained, there's a lot of details that need to be assessed before you can bring up a specific essential oil. And I will add to that, like I mentioned in the beginning, I had been down with fever, and the insights that Rebeccah just threw in my direction, I was like, okay, I've never really thought of it this way. And I also want to, and one of you will get to experience this. I'll tell you this, what showed up for me was a blockage in mental digestion. All right. And I was like, here I'm thinking that the body is this thing and the body is fine. It's the mental digestion that needs to be paid attention to. So, and there's a lot of work that Rebeccah puts in, and you'll get a quick experience of that very soon. One of you lucky people will get that very soon. And M is asked, can you let us know?
Can I jump in there for a second? Could I jump in for a second?
Yes, Mark.
Rebeccah will do the detail, and she'll go down that there. But I think it'd be worthwhile just to offer the people who are listening some simple solutions that they can use, because it takes time to get into these things. They've got a book and they've got to do that. So there are certain things you can do that over the years I've experienced, I've used it, I've seen it with so many people, and they've used them. So initially, if you wanted to, you've got a child there, the go-to essential oil is Breathe, which we have one of the blends.
Okay.
It contains a number of oils.
Can you repeat the name, Mark? Sorry.
The name is Breathe. Breathe, as in
Right,
breathing.
right.
Breathe. And it's simply a matter of diffusing it around the child. You know, a few drops in a diffuser, or getting them to inhale it, or on a hanky and that sort of thing. These are temporary things. What Rebeccah's doing is she's digging down into the root cause.
Right.
But in the meantime, you know, if you want some initial relief,
you can start off.
You can start that. You can clear the lungs. You can start doing that. So Breathe is really good. Rosemary is excellent, and eucalyptus. Okay, so you go for those three.
Fantastic. So breathe,
And-
rosemary, and eucalyptus. Priyanka, I hope you're here and I hope you heard that. And
Okay.
yes, they are available for sale, and we will tell you about it in a quick bit.
Okay. So they're the ones you'd want to do, and simply they're about breathing. They're about getting them in the air so that you breathe them. So those molecules do their physical work. So start with that, then go and see something and really dig down, and that's the best combination. Okay.
Right. Perfect. And M is asked, can you tell us about essential oil for self-love and forgiveness? Rebeccah, Mark, I put it
Wow.
to both of you.
Go for it, Rebeccah. Go for it.
Self-love. Well, we just had one. That oil of bergamot
Bergamot.
is, I think that is one to go for, because we are looking at self-acceptance. We can begin that process with bergamot.
Okay.
Yep.
And forgiveness?
And forgiveness is also, this is, there are a number of oils that are available for forgiveness. And I feel that if we make it easy on ourselves, I'm thinking one of the oils I like to go to as a go-to is cedarwood. Cedarwood, goes right to the trauma of whatever there was.
Yep.
And it's a very gentle wood oil that allows you to open up. And so cedarwood is one that comes to mind. And, I like mixing and layering cedarwood and lavender, because lavender is that oil that helps with communication. And this is communication to yourself. Sometimes, we don't always have that space to go out and if it's someone else we want to forgive, first we have to forgive ourselves in that process, and, open the space. And then, it allows you to speak your truth in a kind way that fosters self-respect, self-love, and all of those emotions.
And there it also depends on what the what is the underlying cause there. So for instance, if it's a bodily function, if it's something that I hate the way I look, or I dislike my body, or something like that, which leads to that, then one of the most powerful oils for that is grapefruit, which is the oil of honoring the body. So that may be throw in the mix with Rebeccah there. So it's about looking for that, as Rebeccah talks about, the underlying cause. So I think there's some good suggestions there.
Right. And just reiterating what you've just said, cedarwood and lavender for certain reasons, but then the underlying reasons could be very different, which is why, for example, as you just mentioned, Mark, if it's about, I don't like the way I look, then grapefruit is more effective. And that's where your guide is required for you to understand, and not just because, look, go do a search, you'll get a list. You'll get a list of things. They use this for this, use this for this, use that for that. You'll get it. But when it doesn't work, you'll never know why.
That's right.
Yeah, there's an essential oil blend that I also would add to that mix, which is it's one that you have available, which is Meta Power. And Meta Power is about, addresses the weight loss function that, people don't feel beautiful, the weight of, or the burden of something.
Right.
That is one oil, which is a blend that's excellent.
Nice. I thank you, M, for your question, because self-love, forgiveness, and look at the options that have popped up. It's not just one, it's a whole bunch depending on what the underlying root cause is. Fantastic. Ranjani is asked, can essential oils help with nerve-related pain such as sciatica?
Oh,
That laugh
Absolutely.
says yes.
Yes. Primarily, sciatica is about mental digestion and stagnation. And it brings to mind the card I pulled out for all that hard work, and where, it's about acknowledgement. And, the body tightens up because there's no acknowledgement there. So I like that, to address it from that point, is that whenever there's a pain like sciatica, think digestion. Where in the digestion am I not able to breathe? Is it not, if you're a spiritual person, have you found the time to connect to your spiritual source? Do your spiritual practice. If it's a mental thing, have you had time to breathe some fresh air, right? So breathe is a good one also. And there are oils like peppermint is the oil of the buoyant heart, and it's about opening, giving you clarity as well, and it helps with pain relief as well. And Mark,
I'm
would
weak.
you add any?
And I would throw in there that if you want to look at from a physical point of view for relief, the oil to go to, and you've really got to lash out with this one because it's one of the top of the trees. It's called helichrysum. It's available in the Indian market, helichrysum. It is the oil that's used in relation to nerves. Okay, so sciatica is often related to that, all the other things. So if you want, again, I'm talking, Rebecca's dealing down. I'm talking about the physical. That's why we make it the team, is we come from both the different angles. Is that so helichrysum applied topically, regularly over the area around the hip and region and so forth like that. Combine it with peppermint, as Rebeccah said, the peppermint helps drive it in. Peppermint is the smallest molecule structure of any essential oil. It absorbs the fastest, links together and pushes it through. So helichrysum is costs a bit because it's a little blue flower about this big. Comes from northern Italy, in that area up there, and it takes an awful lot of little blue flowers to make an essential oil.
I'm
Oh,
sure.
Okay, that's the one to go for. Yeah, that is the physical side. So peppermint, helichrysum, and all the other ones that Rebeccah mentioned.
So bergamot, peppermint, helichrysum, and there